I'm Prince Hamlet, got a problem with that? See, I'm Prince Hamlet, got a
Hello, watchers and listeners in Internet land, and welcome to another edition of Northern Lights Books Author Interview Plunge. Today's guest wears many hats. He's a playwright, children's book author, poet, teacher, filmmaker. He's been an advertising executive, and today he's talking with us about teaching Shakespeare through rap. And it's great, folks. I'm going to be playing you some, so it's great. There's the book. That's what you heard in the introduction to this plunge. Let me introduce Bob Zaslow, author of Shakespeare's Greatest Hits, Volume 1. Bob's off-Broadway musical, The Seed of Abraham, was performed at the Bleecker St Theater at the 2011 Fringe New York City Festival. He also won an American Film Festival Award for his documentary film, Nadine Valenti, Portrait of a Painter. Bob was a VP Creative Supervisor at Gray Advertising, writing and producing more than 100 commercials, earning a Clio, 2 Effies, no idea what those are, but don't they sound impressive, and a John Staples Direct Response Award. His most recent book, Rap Notes, Shakespeare's Greatest Hits, was published in 2012. Bob simplified Shakespeare's stories in rhyme, writing, and recording raps that sing the plots of Hamlet, Macbeth, Romeo and Juliet, King Lear, and A Midsummer Night's Dream. They're really hysterical, folks. They're great. Finally, Bob's been writing non-rap poems since 2016. He was selected Poet of the Week on the Poetry Superhighway site, February 19, 2018. Normally, I'd read some of Bob's work at this point, and instead, we're going to listen to Bob rapping some Hamlet.
Should I be all bright and jolly? My dad is dead, and my mom's big folly is marrying my uncle. Gosh, oh golly, well, I guess that's got to be fine with me. So find a seat to be or not to be. Should I kill myself? Yo, that's the question. Anybody out there got a suggestion? Should I shuffle off this mortal coil? Or
so there you go, folks. And by the way, we're going to have videos of this that are on YouTube. And it's amazing stuff. Everyone, please welcome Bob Zaslow.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay, Shakespeare Rap. This is going to be a story in itself, and I won't. Don't rap it to us, please. Okay, how does Shakespeare Rap come about?
I'm going to have to go back to when I was in advertising. Oh yeah, that's really where the germ of it started. My kids loved Schoolhouse Rock. Those little kids growing up. Well, I was fortunate enough to work at Gray Advertising, and the floor above me, the two creators of Schoolhouse Rock were advertising copywriter and art director team, and they were friends of mine, Tom Yohe and George Newell. And I loved Schoolhouse Rock. I thought their work was amazing. I love the notion of using entertainment to educate and humor, and it made so much sense to me. And I talked to them a lot. I remember sitting down and with Tom Yohe, and I asked him, "What's your secret? What did you do? How did it all come about?" Well, he didn't give me the long story, but he just said, "Bob, look, if you're going to do something like what we did, remember it's all about entertainment first. You've got to hook them with charm and comedy and entertainment, and then go in and grab them with the education part." So I did that. I chose to do my own 13-part TV series called History Kids. It was the history of the world in rap and song, following a genie and these. I don't know. This is going to get too long, but a genie and these kids that would take a trip to a different era of history every week. So I wrote about. I wrote about 3 or 4 scripts, and I did a pilot on ancient Egypt, and I sent it off to Disney and Children's Television Workshop, Sesame Street, various places, and they were complimentary, but I never got a contract. It never, oh, we're doing something just like that this month, or whatever it was, Joe, I don't know. It never went further than the video, little 3-minute, 4-minute video that I did. Anyway, but what I learned was when I remember teaching in my fifth graders Egyptian history, and I used my rap song. Civilization started with one nation, Egypt's the beginning, and now kept on winning. 3000 BC, they knew as much as you and me, but river irrigation to start the agriculture nation. It goes on like that. And those little fifth graders did great. And so that was the germ. I realized I can teach this way. I was teaching fifth grade at the time. And so I decided to take the textbook, the social studies textbook, and turn it into our rap book. I had 28 kids in the Bronx, teaching in the North Bronx. And I set the thing up so that seven tables, 4 kids at each table, Joe. And this is too long an answer, right? Well, all right, this is what happened. I realized the power of rap. What I would do is let's say we're studying Brazil. So I would give them, the textbook to read the chapter on Brazil, and each group of the 7 groups would get a different topic, environment, climate, natural resources, history, and so on. So there'd be 7 topics. And I'd give them big chart paper, right? And on the top, they would write down their topic, climate, natural resources. And then what they had to do was write down everything from that section of the chapter on the climate, and the next group on the natural resources. And then that's when I would come in. I would go from table to table, and they would write down all this stuff, and I would help them with rhyming the last words of sentences, so they would have a 6-line poem. And I didn't know whether this would work or not, frankly, but we did it, and the kids were amazing, Joseph. I still remember one little thing. Brazil, you gotta love her with lots of tin and natural rubber. It didn't rhyme exactly, but it was so close. And the kids loved it. And so then I would take all the big sheets of paper home, type them up on the computer. I think, would I have a computer in those days, or was it a typewriter? Anyway, I would type them up. So I would Xerox enough sheets for every kid, and each kid would have the entire rap, all 7 categories, and then they would take turns singing it, performing it. Okay, so look, you can tell. This got me turned on to using rap as a method, like Tom Yohe was telling me several years before when I left. I was let go of gray advertising along with 110 other people one month in 19, I forget, 90 something. Anyway, sorry, deviating. So, but I realized this is incredible. The kids enjoyed learning. Their grades went up. If you're using grades as a way, but more than grades, their faces lit up. They were excited about learning. And it was a blast to come in and teach and then I thought, okay, well, maybe I can do this with math, with science. So I did math rap. I did science rap. I did a rap about ants. I did a rap about a different experiment. Thank God I can do this. I've been rhyming since I was a kid. Not necessarily a poet, but a rhymer. And they learned. My kids did really well. Now, when some years went by, and I realized I can do this with older kids too. And after school, I would teach kids who were homebound. And I decided some of my kids were 9th, 10th, and 11th graders. I would teach them Shakespeare. They were learning Shakespeare. I would teach it to them with rap. So I sat down. It was a weekend. It was probably a Saturday. It was probably raining. I sat down and I wrote the Hamlet rap first. Yo, I'm Prince Hamlet. Got a problem with that? I have mostly Black and Hispanic students, and I heard it and they loved it, and it was an incredible way to introduce Shakespeare, which until that time had been either, oh, this is boring, Mr. Z, or this is the language is just too hard, whatever. So I tried to break it down and make it accessible And not only was it accessible, it was funny. Well, you read it, or you heard it. It's funny. I mean, that's where it started. That's a really long answer. I'm sorry, Joe, but that's where it started. And after the success, I mean, these kids, the grades went up. More important, with the fifth graders, my ninth and 10th graders began to have no fear about Shakespeare, because
Excellent.
once they learned the story and they thought, hey, these are just people. Ophelia, just this girl who had a crush on Hamlet, and then this happened. Oh man, that father was, what a bum he was. Well, whatever. But it became human. It became relatable, and it was with rap, and they could memorize. I mean, it's so easy. Rap is so easy to memorize. Ask Homer. That is the oral tradition. So that was it just took off, and then I decided, okay, after that I'm going to write a rap for the other four major plays that you mentioned that Shakespeare wrote that are studied in junior high, middle school, high school, and then it turned into this. I put them all together. I wrote this book. I put all the scripts, all the score, and not the score, the book. And then I decided, well, this has to come alive. So I went to a music, how do you say? Well, a place that has music for hire. You can purchase beats, background beats, and you own them once you purchase them. So I made a one-time investment and bought a bunch of beats from a company. And then I put the beats down on audio. I use GarageBand on the computer, and then I hired two rappers, friends of mine, a woman I knew, an actress woman, and a guy I met from an actor friend of mine, and they became my rappers, and they were fantastic. I went to New York City, and a studio called Handmade Music, I think it was. And on 46th Street, I remember going in there, and in 2 sessions, they were able to record all 5 songs. And the engineer was incredible. It was, what a high. I mean, it was great, Joseph. So I mean, even the engineer who, they do this all the time, he loved it. So I knew we had something special. And then I took those raps, the musical sections, and I put them out on iTunes and some other audio places to purchase and stream. And then I put the book together. I used a vanity press to self-publish, and that's it. That's the story. That was long. I'm sorry.
Well, thank you for the interview. Okay, so I think a couple of things. Let me pick on a couple of things. First is that I should feel free to tell Spielberg that Shakespeare Rap is available along with science rap, math rap, history kids. These are all available to be optioned. And I can go to Mike Eisner and let him know, all right, all my best buds, yeah, we're like this. I do also appreciate your statement that the real work of a writer, Homer, Hamlet, Shakespeare, I should say, Homer, Shakespeare, is to make work human and relatable. And once you made these Shakespearean works human and relatable in their language, which is the key to anything, putting something in the audience's language, making it familiar, then it's fine and you've won them. So gray advertising loss is the world's gain. I won't ask you why they let you go, obviously, with all the, what's the Effie? You've won so many awards. What's an Effie?
It stands for Effectiveness Award. It's really the bottom line. It's the bean counters love Effie awards. I worked on Prestone products, Prestone antifreeze and other Prestone products. And when they're tested, what happens is the commercial runs, and then they test to see how the purchases go up. So when they see a line go up like this, I mean, you can. I won 2 of those, so that's really nice. It's not necessarily an artistic award. It's not for the most clever commercial, but the one that is the pragmatic and gets the job done. It's not as prestigious as the Clio award, which I won for a print ad for Arthritis Foundation. I'm very proud of that, but it's a dollars and cents award, the Effies.
So the Clio is what put you in good stead with your peers, and the Effie is what put you in good stead with your bosses.
I've never heard it put better.
Yeah.
You must be a writer, Joseph.
I was going to be a writer, and then I became a lefter, but I'm bummed. So all of this history, all of this work that you've done all over the place, what's your favorite personal anecdote, good or bad, about yourself?
Oh, my favorite anecdote about myself?
Tell us about yourself, Bob.
All right. My favorite anecdote is the day I met my wife.
Oh, here we go. Little Romeo, and he's smiling. Look at his face. All right. Okay.
All right. The first time I met my wife, I was in my first job in advertising, early 80s. And I was the only writer of this small shop. And the receptionist had left for lunch. And the phone rings, and I pick it up because I'm also washing bottles and writing copy. I'm doing hello, and a woman gets on the phone. Her name is Anne Pomeroy, and she has the sweetest voice, bubbly, and she's an artist. She's a designer, and she wants to make an appointment to see my boss, the guy who runs this small ad agency. And I loved her voice. I loved her spirit on the phone. And I wrote down, on my note in my little date book. Anne Pomeroy was going to come to 23rd Street, 3rd floor, such and such a day. It was in August, I think, and August. And so I made sure I was there that day. So she comes in. I don't have a picture. It's in my phone, but she comes in looking like I don't know, like Little Orphan Annie with the curls, the blonde girl, and oh my God, this woman matched her voice and her persona, and my heart starts to go. So she goes in and she has her interview, and now this was August, so I must have had hay fever because I walked in. I say that because I walked in. I shouldn't have done this. I walked into there were no doors. I walked into my boss's office under some pretext. I don't know what. I shouldn't have done it, but I sneezed, and Anne said to me, "Would you like a tissue?" And she gave me a tissue, a Kleenex from her pocketbook. And that was it. And to this day, and we got married. Let me not fast forward that. At the end of the interview, she walked out to the elevator, and I came and followed her. And I said, "Look, hi, I really, I would love to, even if you don't get the job, I would love to see you again. Are you free for dinner any night?" And as the elevator doors were about to close, she said, "I'm sorry, I'm going to Europe tomorrow." "Oh, well, when are you coming back?" "November." Boom, boom. And so, I think I didn't give up. I mean, obviously, we're married 34 years.
Yeah, don't tell me you kept the tissue, though.
No.
Okay. All right.
No. But every time, at least once a year, there'll be something with a tissue or a handkerchief, and we always laugh about it. So anyway,
very good.
But that's one of my favorite anecdotes.
And it should be. Who is your favorite fictional character?
Oh, probably for years, probably Holden Caulfield. That was a book that changed my life in many ways. I mean,
Didn't it change all of our lives?
Okay.
I mean, we're of the same generation, so I think everyone with a little bit of gray has got to remember this.
Yeah.
Please, more. Tell us more.
Catcher in the Rye. Well, I had vague thoughts about the phoniness of the world. Vague. And I didn't trust them because I was only a kid. What did I know? The grown-ups know more than me, but when I read Catcher in the Rye and sort of lived through Holden Caulfield's eyes, I got to see, even though he was crazy, I didn't see him as crazy. I saw him as perceptive, as sarcastic and smarmy, but perceptive. You could see way beyond depths that I could ever see. So that became a new benchmark for me to see the phoniness in adults, and it felt good. It felt good. I kept it sort of secret that I, as a 12-year-old kid, that I would suddenly see. Even my own parents were, some of the things they did that were against what their true selves. But I began to see truth from falsity, or surfaceness from substance, with that book. So that was, I think, Holden Caulfield. That'd be a good choice.
So you're a 12-year-old reading Catcher in the Rye. You're obviously a precocious child.
Tremendous reader.
Yeah.
I'm in a room now with 2,000 books probably, and that's just
today's reading.
A tiny section of what we've got. Yeah, we read a lot.
Yeah, good. As an author, I'm so pleased to hear that. What do you like best about yourself and least about yourself?
Best. I think just my sense of humor. The fact that I don't take myself too seriously. God, is that a huge thing? I mean, for years, I felt I spent way too much time on the defense, trying to defend my worth, my self-worth. And as I've grown older and I've gotten some success in areas, I realized, I don't need to defend anything. This is who I am. I can do things with a sense of humor, and I can do things, spontaneously, and I can not be afraid to dance when people are watching, I guess.
Congratulations. A lot of people never figure that out. So good for you. What do you like least about yourself? You're a rotten dancer.
No, I probably am, but that's not what I like least. It's impatience. Yeah, it's not fair. My poor wife. I love her so much, but I can get when she's going slow or not going at the speed that I want to go, I can get impatient, and I become a real. I can't. I'm not going to curse, but I become someone that I don't like for that, and I always clean it up, but I'm tired of losing my temper or getting impatient and saying the wrong thing in the spur of the moment to release tension, and then, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. It's not a very good practice. So yeah.
Okay. So you've got the Effies, the Clio. You've done Shakespeare Rap. You married a wonderful woman.
Yes, indeed.
You have a tissue that's been bronzed. What do you consider your greatest accomplishment?
Well, I think Nadine Valenti, Portrait of a Painter, won an American Film Festival award in the late 70s. I was, that's a huge thing. It was shown at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. It was shown at the Brooklyn Museum in San Francisco. I forget, on cable TV at that time in the late 70s, early 80s. But winning the award, this was the same year that Coal Miner's Daughter won for Best Documentary Film. In general, mine won an award for Best Documentary, or third best documentary in the arts. So that was a huge thing. Another, I'm going to have to add on, because as you mentioned in your intro, in 2011, I wrote the book for a play called The Seed of Abraham. My friend Kenny wrote the music, and that was one of the best or most attended plays in the Fringe Festival for 2011. So, and it got rave reviews. So that's another thing that's very, very proud of. And just one more, not to be corny, but I have two great kids. I'm really proud of them. They're incredible.
Very good. Congratulations on the two great kids. I know that now, I believe where you're located right now as we're doing this interview, you're located on a lake about, 40, 50 miles outside of New York City?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure, go ahead.
I mean, this
Oh,
is
there we go, folks. That is what they call, that is the world's biggest swimming pool, and he had that put in. I just want you to know that. That was done with all of the advance money he got from the Effie and the Clio. So anyway, okay, you're currently living around this lake, about I guess an hour's commute out of New York City. But I also understand you're on the move. You're going to be moving somewhere else. So where are you going to be moving to, and where do you feel most at home? Here, where you're going to be moving, or just
uh,
in general?
well, my wife and I are really feel very at home here. We love it here, but it, our taxes are obscene. Living on the lake, they think we're millionaires. We're not, and our taxes are are much higher than than I would have paid this my previous houses. The mortgage, the taxes are through the roof. But more important, we're both retired now, and we can go anywhere. Our daughter is a college professor in Seattle, Washington State.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to move to be near her as she starts a family. We hope. I'm knocking wood as I say that. So we're going out there, and we were lucky enough to find. We were out there in last summer, and we found a house, a small house, half the size of this house. We found a house on a lake. Uh, mostly it's a wood, like a cabin type house that will hold half our books. But we're going out there. It's right on the lake, so we'll be able to kayak and row and do the things that we do now on a smaller scale. And the taxes are 1/10 of what we pay now in New York State. So.
Very good. Yes, kayaking. Susan, my wife, and I love kayaking. We do that every year. What do you wish you could do better? You multi-talented person, you.
Oh, thank you. You're sweet to say that. But I wish I was more organized. Yeah, I'm not a good organizer.
That's why everything's in boxes behind you.
we're boxing up everything for the
Yes.
move.
Understood.
So, yeah, I'm not going to take you on a tour of our house because it's embarrassing. It's everything is 3/4 of our stuff is boxed up. We're moving in June, early June. Yeah. I wish I was more organized with my finances, with my possessions. Thank God I have an iPhone and I can look and see what I'm doing. I would have missed this appointment. So that keeps me organized. My computer keeps me organized, but in general, it's been a weakness of mine.
Okay. You have become involved with many, many artistic, creative people. You've done plays, the rap, you've put together the music and everything else. So you've got all of this stuff that is very impressive. Let's be very honest. It's very impressive. What would people be most shocked about or surprised to learn about you?
In a bad way, you mean?
No, I don't. Well, if you want to tell us the bad way, because I'll make sure that we edit it out.
Okay,
I want it to be a mystery.
What would they most be surprised? Well, that's a tough one. I cry at certain movies.
So do I. Which movies? Let's share notes.
Oh, I mean, I cry at commercials sometimes.
They're poorly done. You cry. Yeah. Oh my God, that's a horror. Who directed that piece of crap?
Isle of Dogs. We just saw that. I mean, let's see what else. Surprised and shocked.
I got to make a note of that. Isle of Dogs. I never even heard of that one.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's incredible. It's mesmerizing. I don't know. That's a tough one. What would people be shocked? I'm pretty much an open book. No pun intended. I don't know. I love Chinese food. I could eat that all day. That's not surprising. I don't know. That's all I can come up with.
All right. Okay. So you cried watching the Isle of Dogs.
Oh,
While
I know.
okay.
I do meditation. Maybe people wouldn't. I meditate almost every morning for about 20 minutes.
Good. Excellent. Very good. I will make a note not to disturb you in the mornings for 20 minutes. If you could only change one thing in the world to make it a better place, what would it be? And you cannot say everyone should buy my book. That's not one thing you could change, because that's going to happen anyway once this goes live.
No. God, if I could change one thing, I feel like a Miss America contestant. I would wish for world peace. What would I do? And you know what? It's a cliche, but I would wish that all people would realize that they don't need anything. That they don't need anything to feel powerful.
Mm-hmm.
They just need that's an inner working. That's an inner notion, an inner feeling. The feeling of there's so many people who feel hopeless or lost or powerless, and I feel that it's all inside of us. All these abilities are inside, and I wish people could tap into that. If everyone could tap into what's really inside of them, they would be amazed, and the world would find itself in a better position.
Amen. Very good. If you could have lunch with anyone from history, who would it be and why?
Oh, so many. My first thing that springs to mind is William Shakespeare. First, I'd ask him, did he really write all those 38 plays? Or was it Edward de Vere or Christopher Marlowe or Francis Bacon? I'd want to know that, because that's been bothering me. But I'd want to know, assuming that he wrote it, I want to know what's the how and the why and the wherefore. How does he know so much about the human condition and psychology way before Sigmund Freud? How does he get the ideas? How does he write poetry on this level? I don't know. I'd love to learn some secrets from William Shakespeare.
Okay, I will share something with you and our audience that it's been a secret that I've known for a long time. Because you mentioned Shakespeare and because you mentioned Marlowe, de Vere, and Bacon. Actually, Shakespeare was a front, and everything he wrote was written by those three guys, kind of like Woody Allen in the movie The Front. I don't know if you ever saw that, but
I've seen The Front.
Yeah, Shakespeare never actually wrote anything. It was all those three guys, and they were on the outs with the theatrical world at the time, so they would pump him with all this stuff. Yeah, Bill, go put that up. And most people don't know that.
Well, Edward de Vere was royalty. Why would he be on the outs? I mean, I don't know.
You do realize I'm kidding.
Oh. Well, no,
I'm sorry.
I didn't because Marlowe had died before a lot of those plays were written. Although they said he was a spy. He might have used, but Edward de Vere, there is a good case that he was the real writer, but no one knows. But you had me going there, Joe.
I should have been in advertising.
You should have been an actor.
Yeah, well, my wife sometimes. Anyway, all right. This has been great. I got one more question for you. What question do you wish that someone would ask about you or your book, but nobody has?
Wow, I'm stumped. Dead air. What question about this book? I don't. Oh, I'm sorry. What question? I guess.
It can be a question about you, if that makes it easier.
How'd you come up with all these ideas, or how long did it take you to write? Or no, that's kind of a surface question. I'm stumped. Joe, I don't know. I'm looking at the book and what question?
Well, then
I'm
go ahead.
stuck, Joe. I'm really stuck for an answer.
Let me offer you this. What question would stump you?
Okay, that's very clever.
Ha ha ha.
The question. Well, you just did it. So I guess the question that would stump me is, why do you do all this? Why do you write? Why do you, now that you're retired, why do you work so hard writing?
Okay, why do you work so hard? I mean, that's a great question. Being of the same age as you and the same situation, why do you work so hard at writing? Joseph asks rhetorically.
You might as well ask why I work so hard at breathing or eating. I can't help it. I love it. I really, I hate it and I love it. My wife's godfather was Isaac Asimov.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Wow.
He was. She knew him as a child, and because he went to school, he went to MIT with my father-in-law. They were both rocket scientists, and in fact, they were good friends. And Isaac gave my father-in-law books, and anyway, that's a whole nother story. The reason I bring him up is because Isaac Asimov wrote every day of his life, and he lived for it. Now, me, it's different. I don't live for writing, but I do notice that when I don't write, there's a void. There's something missing, and writing is sometimes really hard, but not writing is more difficult. It feels worse. Mm-hmm. So on balance, I'd rather write every day, even if it's just for a short half hour. That's one of the reasons I'm writing poems now, is because it's shorter. I can sit and I can write a poem in an hour or two, and maybe come back to it. But a play, like I've written a lot of plays, they take weeks and weeks. Mm-hmm. And a short, a novel, well, forget about it. That takes years. So poems are nice. I can do that. Oh, raps. I can do the raps in a relatively short amount of time.
Very good. Thank you so much. Bob Zaslow, thank you so much for taking the time to do this today. Bob Zaslow, author of Shakespeare's Greatest Hits, Volume 1. You can find the links on this page. And winner of Clio, Effies, John Staples Direct Response Award. The guy's just phenomenal. Obviously, you've got that, folks, from watching this interview.
You're nice to say, Joseph. Thanks.
I like to be nice because it's so much easier. Anyway, thank you so much, Bob. Take care.
Bye-bye. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Got a problem with that? See, I'm Prince Hamlet, got a problem with that? I'm Prince Hamlet over here, Prince Hamlet's over here, yeah. Something's right.